Sarah sits on the damp porch step, fairy lights now dimmed to a single amber strand that flickers like a heartbeat refusing to quit, casting soft, wavering halos across the wet wood that still smells of rain, cedar, the faint metallic tang of storm-cooled air, and the trace of his cologne, pine and engine oil mixed with the warmth of his skin. The storm has passed. Only the occasional drip from the gutter, the rustle of leaves in the pre-dawn breeze, and the distant chirp of a waking bird break the silence. Her knees are pulled to her chest. Dad's old flannel wrapped tight around her like a shield, sleeves pushed high, wrists bare, a faint smear of dried tears streaking her cheek like a watercolor left too long in the rain, another glistening fresh at the corner of her eye. A single red leaf clings to the railing beside her, trembling in the breeze. Another is caught in the cuff of her sleeve, another stuck to the sole of her bare foot. Her voice is low, cracked, still carrying the hitch of her sobs. The warmth of his hand on her shoulder, the rustle of his jacket, and the way his eyes caught the porch light like polished steel, holding a gentleness she'd only written in the margins of her drafts. You guys will never believe what happened next. I'm Sarah, no last name. Just the girl who writes Seabrook secrets before they bleed, and this story? It's happening right now, 4:19 a.m. on the morning after my 18th birthday, and I'm telling it while the porch boards are still cool and slick from the rain. The leaf is still clinging to the railing like it's afraid to let go. The echo of his question, "Why are you crying?" still hangs in the air like a thread I can't cut. The faint imprint of his boot print lingers in the damp earth near the steps like a promise, and the space between us feels both infinite and non-existent. Thought he'd walk away. That was the plan. Ask why I was crying, get an answer, leave. No, lingering no staying, I'd been sitting here for an hour, sobbing quietly into my knees, the storm mirroring the mess inside me. After the party, after the cake, after the candles, after realizing 18 didn't fix anything, didn't erase the ache, didn't make the drafts any less raw. Harlan. Salt and pepper hair still damp from the rain, strands clinging to his forehead like ink on wet paper. Gray eyes storm-soft. The man who'd stopped, who'd sat, who'd stayed, he'd found me like that, curled up, shaking, tears mixing with rain, flannel soaked through, pajama shorts clinging to my thighs. He didn't say much at first, just sat beside me on the step, took off his jacket, slow, deliberate, and draped it over my shoulders, the weight of it warm, the scent of pine and oil wrapping around me like a hug I didn't know I needed. Waited. Waited until the sobs slowed. Waited until I could breathe again. "Hey guys," I whispered to the camera, voice barely audible over the drip, drip, drip from the gutter. "Part 2 incoming, hit subscribe." He handed me a handkerchief from his pocket, slow, deliberate. His fingers brushed mine on the fabric, lingered, warm, intentional, calloused. The cotton was soft, worn, embroidered with a tiny H in the corner, his wife's, maybe, or his own. The tension lingered, quiet, electric. Every drip from the gutter, every rustle of the jacket as I shifted, every breath between us, fogging and vanishing in the cold. It was comfort. Beautiful. Exquisite comfort. He didn't move to leave. I didn't want him to. The space between us was 3 inches of step, but it felt like 3 inches of skin. Like the night was stitching us together, like the storm had washed away every reason to stay apart. He tilted his head. Just enough. Better? "A little," I said, voice cracking, raw. He tucked a strand of wet hair behind my ear. Slow. Reverent. His thumb lingered on my cheek, wiping away a tear that wasn't rain, tracing the path like he was memorizing it. Silence. The kind that breathes. The kind that heals. The kind that waits. I leaned into his hand. Just enough. He didn't pull away. His palm cupped my face, grounding me, the callus on his thumb a quiet reminder of every tool he'd ever held, every step he'd ever fixed. We watched the sky shift, slow, deliberate, from black to indigo, from indigo to bruised violet, from violet to the first blush of rose along the tree line. The stars faded one by one, like secrets surrendering to daylight. The moon slipped behind the trees. A silver coin dropped into a well. The world woke up around us, birds chirping, a dog barking far off. The faint hum of a car on the main road. Round one hymn. I still set 2 handkerchiefs out every morning. One for me, one for her. Even though she's been gone 6 years. The second one's always clean, until tonight. Me. I still keep your flannel under my pillow. The one you left after the porch step. I cry into it when the storms come. I cried into it last week. He laughed. Low, soft, broken. I felt it in my ribs. He leaned closer, shoulder to shoulder, heat seeping through wet fabric. His jacket heavy on my back, round to him. I keep her greenhouse key on my keyring. I opened it at dawn last week. The orchids were waiting like they knew I'd been crying too. Me. I started writing tears because they reminded me of your eyes in the rain. I have 35 drafts now, all titled Why. I read them when the house is quiet, when the porch feels too big. His thumb stilled on my wrist. His knee pressed mine, lingered. Pressed, stayed. Round 3 hymn. I still have her wedding ring, in a tin under the floorboard. I took it out tonight. Left it there. Didn't need it. Needed this. Me. I keep a canvas under my bed, raw red, no title. I paint on it when I cry. It's you. It's always been you. I added a new stroke every time I sat here alone, every time I thought you'd never ask why. He exhaled like I'd lifted a weight. His hand slid to my thigh, slow, reverent, claiming, the warmth seeping through my shorts. Round 4 hymn. I think about that night every time I drive past your porch. The way you looked at me when I said your name, like you were holding back a flood, like you were drowning in silence. Me. I think about it every time I sit here. The way you walked away like you were leaving me to drown. The way I cried the first time the step held. His eyes softened. The flannel slipped off my shoulder again. He tucked it back, slow, deliberate, his fingers brushing my collarbone. Round 5 hymn. I almost stopped an hour ago. You were quiet, eyes closed. I stood up. Then I sat back down. Couldn't leave you like that, me. I knew. I pretended to sleep. I waited. I needed you to stay. I needed someone to ask why. He closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were sunrise deep. His hand tightened on my thigh. Possessive, grounding, home. Round 6 hymn. I keep a photo of you in my wallet. From the block party. You're laughing. I looked at it every dawn I woke up alone, every time I wondered why you stopped waving, me. I have a voice memo of you saying my name when you handed me the hammer. I played it every night you weren't here. I cried every time it ended. The air crackled. He leaned in, stopped, 1 inch away, breath mingling, heart sinking, the scent of rain and pine between us. Round 7 hymn. I stayed because I couldn't leave you crying. Not after you turned 18. Not after I saw you breaking. Me. I stopped crying because you asked why. Because you sat. Because you stayed. He nodded. Once, his hand slid to my waist. Anchored, final. Like the last nail in a step that would never creak again. Round 8 hymn. I'm terrified the sun will change everything. That you'll wake up and regret this. Me. I'm terrified you'll walk away when it does. That this was just pity. We stared. The conversation had teeth. The space between us was gone, bodies pressed, hearts racing, tears mixing with dawn light. Round 9 hymn. I love you. Have for 2 years. Stayed to prove it. Asked why to understand it. Me. I love you. Wrote it in every tear. Said it in my silence. Believed it when you asked why. When you stayed. Silence. Then kiss, slow, deep, quiet, like a storm finally calmed, like a question finally answered, like a canvas finally signed, the handkerchief. Stayed damp, the jacket stayed draped, the sun rose, gold and soft, we didn't move. The morning was gentle, we sat on the step, lingering, breathless, hands still tangled, lips still warm, foreheads pressed together, the faint scent of rain and coffee and cedar between us. The first bird singing like it knew. He brushed a tear from my cheek, slow, reverent. Someone had to ask why, Sarah. I leaned in, just enough. Thank you for staying. Sarah winks at the camera. Fairy lights fading into daylight, the sun now gold across the wet porch, the leaf finally letting go and drifting down. the morning stretching on like a night finally understood, and a dawn finally shared, and that's how crying became everything. Seabrook's got a way of making storms heal, doesn't it? Like, subscribe, ring the bell, just turned 18, just got asked why, and answered.